Welcome back to Ruben's Rundown 3D Printing Edition. If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you already know about me. But I genuinely love solving small, everyday problems. The kind of problems that technically have solutions, but none of them ever feel right. That's really what got me into 3D printing in the first place. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I just want things to work better, cleaner, and more securely in my own space. This whole video started in my basement, where I have a router mounted on the wall, and for the longest time, it just would not stay put. It kept falling off the screws, and every time I tried to fix it, I ran into the same issue. Those tiny mounting holes on the back of the router are incredibly annoying to line up, and even when I did manage to get it mounted, it still felt loose and sketchy. I didn't trust it, so instead of continuing to fight with the screws and anchors, I decided to design a solution that actually held the router. I measured the router, added a little tolerance, and designed a simple cage that cradles it securely. From the beginning, I was very intentional about not blocking anything important. No vents, no ports, no buttons, and once it was installed, the router finally stayed exactly where it was supposed to. No wobble, no slipping, no frustration. All of these prints were done on my Bambu Lab P1S, and I just want to take a second to say how much I genuinely love this printer. I'm not sponsored by them, I bought it with my own money. It's fast, it's reliable, and most importantly for me, it lets me go from an idea in my head to a physical part without a ton of babysitting. When inspiration hits, I don't want to fight my machine, I just want to design, print, and move on to the next problem. That reliability is what made everything you're seeing in this video possible. After the router project, I moved on to my gaming desk. I wanted my PS4 off the floor and securely mounted to the side of my IKEA desk. Floor placement works, but it's not ideal. Dust, cables, accidental kicks, it just feels messy. My first instinct was to design a full enclosure, but the PS4 is wider than my printer's build area, so that wasn't going to work as a single piece. Instead, I decided to design corner braces that would support it from multiple points. Structurally, they worked great, but this is where things get interesting from a design perspective. Those corner braces required supports during printing, and while that's not the end of the world, it adds time, material, and cleanup. This is where I want to hear from you guys. If you're into 3D printing and design, let me know in the comments if there's a smarter way to approach something like this. Is there a support-free geometry I should be thinking about? A different orientation? A completely different approach? I'm always learning and I genuinely value that kind of feedback. Then I stumbled across an old Chinese gaming emulator I had tucked away. It's loaded with classic coin-op arcade games, and I wanted it accessible but secure, not just floating around on a shelf or desk. At this point, you can probably guess what happened. I designed another cage for it. This is where TinkerCAD really shines for me. My workflow is pretty straightforward. I measure the object, add a millimeter or two of tolerance so it's not overly tight, define the empty space that needs to exist, and then use solid blocks as bands to form a cage around it. The goal is always the same: secure, simple, and functional, without overcomplicating the design. Now I'll be honest, I wish I knew how to properly use my Creality Ferret Pro 3D scanner. In my head, I'd love to just scan an object, bring it to software, and design directly around it like a mold. I'm not quite there yet, but that's absolutely coming, and that learning process is going to be its own video soon. Which brings me to the next part, where things didn't go perfectly, because they never do. On this last print, I made the cage just a little too tight, and I accidentally covered one of the peripherals, the power. It happens. That's part of the process. The important thing is what comes next. I went back into TinkerCAD, adjusted one of the bands, reprinted the part, and this version is the one that actually works the way it should. That right there is what I love most about 3D printing. Iteration. You design, you test, you mess up, you fix it, and you end up with something better than what you started with. If you enjoyed this problem-solving edition of Ruben's Rundown, let me know by hitting that like button. Consider subscribing if you want more content like this, and definitely drop a comment if you have ideas for better designs or cleaner printing methods. I'll see you in the next one.